Eagles.
This is my favorite bet of the weekend. I like Philadelphia to win at home and Philadelphia to cover -4.5. They've won 12 of their last 13 games, and they're only giving up about 15 points a game. Number 2 rushing offense, the highest rush percentage in the league. So Jalen Hurts concussion protocol, they should be able to keep it on the ground. Jalen Hurts, by the way, he gets a fresh Saquon Barkley. Okay, so a well-rested Saquon Barkley. And the Packers, they were not good against good teams. 0-5 this year against the Vikings, Lions, and Eagles. 2-5 against playoff teams this year. Green Bay's a bit of a front runner, a bit of a bully. I don't like him in this spot. They also were second in the NFL in drops. So they're a young team that can make mistakes. I like Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts since week 4 has been great. 33-24.
Yeah. It's always interesting to me when you say something like, oh, they lead the league in drops, this, that. Well, then it's like, okay. Yeah, they had that during the regular season, but then in the playoffs, if you don't drop the ball, maybe you'd win those games that you had lost before. And, it's, there's a lot of doubt around the Green Bay Packers. And, this is the playoffs right now, so people are very, very, very bold and concrete with their takes. Everybody wants to really draw that line and say things like the Packers have no chance. The Steelers have no chance. The Bills will dominate the Broncos. We already use that language throughout the season to a degree, but it's like extra in the playoffs. It's extra, extra, extra. People want to really make such bold, loud, and proud predictions. And so you're seeing that with the Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Like I'm sure Green Bay Packers fans are very, very well aware of that, everybody is doubting them. And it's understandable why. It really is. But I think the other side of that conversation, which has been interesting to me, is because I know a lot of Packers fans are kind of like, well, first off, we're a really good team. Yeah, we have not played as well as we would want to, but that doesn't mean that we can't. Doesn't mean that we're incapable of. And just wait until the playoffs. We are going to elevate. We are going to be better. Jordan Love will be better. And if that's the case, we definitely can win. So, don't count us out. And then you're looking at a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, and you're like, well, wait a second. Philadelphia Eagles aren't this juggernaut. Yeah, they got some pretty big names. But Jalen Hurts hasn't played in weeks. They've struggled and had some bad losses. They've had some bad drops. Devontae, Saquon. Their coach can be a little different, let's just say. Who are you to act like the Eagles get to just do whatever they want? They've had a lot of close games. And even in some of their games where the score has kind of separated, that wasn't really a good indicator of how those games unfolded. Those games were a lot closer. The game against the Steelers was a lot closer. The game against the Commanders the first time was a lot closer. And the Bucs, they rolled them. So you can always make the argument for any take, honestly. No matter what the take is, whether you want to say that the Packers will dominate the Eagles or the Packers will win a close game or that the Eagles will dominate or win a close game, you could always make the argument on any side. At least for me, it's very easy and clear for me to see it. And again, in any game, in any situation. And again, that's what makes this fun. And that's what makes these conversations fun. Because there's almost always evidence to back up a claim, as long as you, again, know what you're talking about for the most part. And not just making it up out of thin air. But I think for this game specifically, we can throw out any of these preconceived notions about how good a team actually is, or punching above their weight, or, whatever it may be. Drop passes, health. What it really comes down to, though, is that in order for the Packers to win this game, this is the way how I view it right now, I think you need the Eagles to not play their best. And the Packers need to play their best. The Eagles can win this game without playing their best, as long as the Packers have just continued to play how they've been playing. But the Packers need to play their best And they need the Eagles to not play their best. If both teams play their best, the Eagles win, in my opinion. Because the Eagles are fundamentally a better team with a better roster, a deeper roster, a more experienced roster. So the Packers are more reliant on how the Eagles play. The Eagles are less reliant on how the Packers play. So in order for the Packers to win, it's like, yeah, you would need Jalen Hurts to just like be really rusty. For the Philadelphia Eagles to like do something crazy where like they don't really hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley that much. You would need Jalen Hurts to fumble the ball, throw a really bad pick. Like, you know, those are some of the things that you would really, really need. But if the Eagles are firing on all cylinders, if they're doing what they want to do, then they are a very difficult team to stop. But when their losses unfold, when we see how they, you know, come about with their losses, and the one loss is tough because Jalen Hurts went down, but that's part of it. Jalen Hurts went down. The defense, you know, one of their big defensive players, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, like, he got thrown out of the game. Like, Devontae dropped the ball, literally. That caught up to them. Then they lost the game against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were down AJ and Devontae. They were clearly not playing their best ball. They weren't relying on Saquon Barkley. Jalen Hurts did not look comfortable. The defense was not good. They got rolled. So that's what you're hoping for more. Okay, you know what? You're really hoping and banking on the Eagles just not being able to be consistent, not be able to really show up when they need to, for them to make a mistake, because we've seen them make mistakes. So you're just a little bit more reliant on the other team, which is never a comfortable position to be in as a fan or a player for that part. I don't know if players necessarily see it that way. I think a lot of times players are like too locked in. And I think a lot of coaches sometimes are too locked in as well to like really see the reality, but sometimes they do. Sometimes you have that awareness. You understand, okay, the way how we win this game is by them messing up. And so if we see them mess up, that's when we have to really pounce. You get a first quarter turnover from the Philadelphia Eagles, you got to turn it into points, man. You got to turn it into points. Got to be. The Eagles mess up, and, you know, the Packers rip off a huge run for a 45-yard gain down to the 3, to the 4. It's got to be a touchdown, man. It's got to be a touchdown. Can't be a field goal. Can't go for it on 4th down and get no points. Can't be that way. They made the mistake. You have to make them pay. You have to make them pay. And that, to me, is how this game would have to unfold for the Packers to win. And it's definitely possible. I mean, you know, the Philadelphia Eagles are not this, you know, gold standard of consistency here. They're definitely not. They potentially make their own weird, bizarre decisions where they're on their own 4th and 1, and they try to go for the tush push or something, and then they don't get it. And it's like, bro, just punt the ball. What are you doing? So anything's possible. Anything's possible in this game. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Green Bay Packers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles and the chance and the likelihood that they can pull off this upset? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.